You're listening to LinkedIn Ads Radio, the podcast dedicated to exploring and mastering LinkedIn advertising with your host, Anthony Blattner from Speedwork.
All right, hello everyone. Today we're talking about LinkedIn video ad best practices. So if you're currently running video ads or are planning to, this will be a great episode to follow along with. So today we're going to dive into a few different topics, but mostly we're going to cover the strategy around video ads, when to use them, and when they work best. We'll go over the technical requirements of the video ads so that you make sure you're creating the best format that's going to work on LinkedIn. So we'll talk about all the technical requirements so you can make sure that you're creating the right videos, and also so you can pass these along to your video editor to make sure that they're clipping the right files. Then we'll also talk about creative best practices and what we see work best in video ads on LinkedIn. So we'll share several different tips and tricks to make sure that your videos are getting the most engagement and driving the most impact with your audience. All right, so before we dive in today, let's talk about what's new on LinkedIn in the last month or so. So we've seen a few new features come out, and there's a few new betas out as well. One of the most interesting ones is the new Companies tab in LinkedIn Campaign Manager. This is an early beta at the moment, but this page will show you all the companies involved in your LinkedIn marketing so that you can build and save company lists. I really like this because it opens up a new idea of company list builders in Campaign Manager, and managing target account lists and stuff like that is where LinkedIn really shines. Being able to target companies at a company level is really what's unique about LinkedIn. So I love that they're rolling out more company level features so that you can build these lists and you can filter these lists based on several different criteria. Some of the new filters are you can select certain campaigns. So maybe there's certain campaigns or high intent campaigns or targeting certain regions, and you want to focus on those campaigns and understand the companies that are being reached by those campaigns. And then you can take it a level further to say, I want to filter to the most engaged companies or the least engaged companies. Maybe you want to identify who are the most engaged companies as an intent signal, or maybe you want to see who are the least engaged companies who you need to get more engagement out of. From there, you can actually filter by organic engagements as well. I love this because organic is such a big part of LinkedIn marketing. So I love that they're pulling in more organic metrics into the paid side of the platform. You can also filter by paid engagements and paid impressions. You can also filter by company size, country, and then you can include or exclude certain companies. So I love that they're building out this new feature. It's brand new, so we'll see how this continues to evolve. But I love to be able to have more capabilities around building company lists because, again, that's what's really unique about LinkedIn. Next, there's been a new addition to retargeting audiences. You can now retarget by Conversions API data. So if you have the Conversions API set up and you're pushing data in via the API, maybe your CRM is pinging back who are qualified leads, or when a lead becomes an opportunity, or when an opportunity closes, all of that data can now be pushed back into the LinkedIn API, and you can also create retargeting audiences based off this data. So again, maybe you want to only retarget qualified leads, or maybe you only want to retarget opportunities. You can now do that using a Conversions API retargeting audience. And just like any other retargeting audiences, you can set a certain time range. So it lasts 14 days, 30 days, all the way up to 120 days. And then you'll need to have Conversions API conversions created, and you'll need to have data coming in to select as you set up that audience. And then once that data comes in, then you can add that audience to a campaign. The third new thing that has come out recently is the prioritization of video. If you've used the mobile app, the LinkedIn mobile app, you might have access to the new videos tab in the mobile app. This tab will show a stream of videos, both from people you follow and others out there. So LinkedIn's starting to roll out more video and prioritize more video with it, which I think is very interesting. Also on mobile, if you're scrolling your feed on mobile, every once in a while, a videos for you section will come into the scroll feed. I think this is interesting because they're picking out different videos and putting them in front of you, and then you can just click on one of those to watch that video there. Some of them are really eye-catching. So I know as I've been scrolling in the mobile feed, this has captured my attention several times, and I've clicked on a video and then I've scrolled through a few different videos. So LinkedIn's definitely adding a lot of new video features, and if you're posting videos organically on LinkedIn, they have a chance of being added into these different feeds and getting a lot more impressions. Overall, I think this is a great step because we've seen how popular video has become on other platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, along with YouTube. So I think it's great to see more video features in the LinkedIn app. It'll be very interesting to see how this feature continues to evolve. All right, so as we just talked about, video is becoming more important on LinkedIn. They are prioritizing it. So I think we're going to see a lot more video in the coming time on LinkedIn. So video is becoming a more important format to figure out. So that's why I'm very excited today to have an episode where we deep dive on video ads. We'll talk about best practices and all that good stuff so that you're ready to create the best video ads for your campaigns. So for the first section, let's start by talking about strategy before you even get into the creative itself or even the technical requirements. So when does video work best? Now, some of these different considerations involve both how we pay and bid on video ads, along with how users usually consume video, and then how they show up in the feed. And this is going to be a little different for organic video versus paid video because the ad will operate different than an organic video on LinkedIn. You're probably going to have different goals in the way that you measure it. So today we're talking about video ads. We'll have some sidebar to talk about organic when certain bullet points come up, but mostly we're going to be talking about ads today. So now when I think about a video ad on LinkedIn, I'm thinking about the creative that I'm going to present, the audience I'm going to reach, and then how they're going to engage with that video ad. And I'm first going to start by thinking about that LinkedIn as a platform, the way most people do tend to use it is they use it to jump on and research somebody before they have a meeting, or maybe they have a little bit of time in between meetings that they're going to open the social side of the platform and scroll their feed for a little bit to look around for a couple things before they have to jump into a meeting. But very often LinkedIn is mostly used during the work week, during the business day, and people are in a business mindset when they're doing that. So because of that, in general, we do see that people do not watch as much video on LinkedIn compared to other platforms. Platforms like Meta, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube are more video heavy platforms. People are scrolling around. They have more leisure time. Those apps tend to be used after hours and on weekends when people have more time to kill and are more likely to watch videos. So in general, we don't see, and again, this is changing and it's great to see it's changing, but for now, what we've historically seen is people don't watch as much video on LinkedIn as compared to other platforms. So a lot of my recommendations here are going to be based around that user behavior. So first, let's start with when do you want to use video ads? Video as a medium, it's great because it's very high fidelity interaction. You can convey a lot of information, many frames of information versus a single static image. You just have one frame of information. A video can show a whole lot more. So it's a very rich format. Video is great to show off a person and their personality and help the viewer get to know that person. Videos are also great for showing off features or software products, for showing off products and services and how they work. It's great for showing off software and showing interfaces, tutorial videos, and walking through things like that. So video is great when you have a lot of information you want to convey or more complicated topics that can't be explained in just an image ad. So on the flip side, let's talk about when video isn't as great to use most of the time. So we talked about video is good when you want to explain a lot of information or have more info that you need to explain. But on the flip side, we usually see that video does not perform as well when your goals are to drive traffic to your website or to drive leads on the platform using any kind of like LinkedIn lead gen form or leads on another website. And the reason for that is because when you do have a video ad, people are going to sit there and watch the video, and then people don't often watch the whole video, but they might watch the first half of it and they might going to continue to scroll through their feed from there. So videos do usually have a lower click-through rate. So you will get less clicks to a website or to a lead form. You'll have lower engagement rates. So if you're using an objective like website visits or lead gen, typically you have to bid more for those clicks because LinkedIn as an algorithm is largely based off of engagement rate. So if you have a lower engagement rate with video ads, you have to bid more for it. So again, if you're looking to drive traffic to a website or capture leads using the LinkedIn forms, that video often does not perform as well because they tend to have lower engagement. The video format on LinkedIn is not as good for small animations. You might see lots of ads and posts on Facebook and Instagram that have a small amount of animation and it is a video file that's playing there. I've seen people try to use them in the same way on LinkedIn, but you have to upload it, as you upload it as a video. And the reason for that it isn't as good is because there's often a short lag between a video loading. So video is a great format, but for most people, I do recommend starting with image ads, get that figured out, get that working well. And then once you have some stuff that's working there, then consider adding in video or split testing video once you already see images working. Keep in mind that video has a lot more variables involved with like the watch time and are people playing or pausing it and how much are they seeing and what are they seeing. So there's a lot more variables there. So usually most people do want to start with image ads and then consider moving to video or split testing video after that. Also, if you're just doing a very little bit of animation in the video, maybe just like a little bit of animation of text or something like that, then you can also use GIFs in image ads. And sometimes those perform better for having just a light animation in your creative. All right, so where else do video ads perform well? So videos tend to perform better in retargeting campaigns. Once somebody already knows who you are, what you do, they have that context there, then number one, they're going to be more likely to watch a video ad because they already have some familiarity with you. If they've never seen your brand before, they're going to be less likely to sit there and watch the video. So we see more watch time and higher watch percentages on retargeting with video. So you might not use video in your cold campaigns, but we usually see it perform better in a retargeting campaign. That's not to say it can't perform well in a cold campaign, but we just see performance stats are better in retargeting campaigns. The next thing to think about is what is the creative, the strategy in the creative that you're using. And we do see that people, of course, grab the most attention. And next, as we think about creative, what types of creative tend to work best? Just like anything else, imagery of people or having people and faces in your video have the highest engagement rates and have the longest watch time. If you ever watch TikTok videos or videos on other platforms, very often they'll do a side-by-side and have one thing going on one side and then somebody's reaction on the other side. In general, faces grab the most attention. So now, while I wouldn't use that format specifically on LinkedIn, what we do see work well is anytime you are showing something that isn't involving a person, having the little bubble face in the right-hand corner or in one of the corners of the video helps because that helps increase engagement. People are going to watch that, see who's talking. They can see somebody speaking versus if you just have a narrator voice, that is not as engaging as having someone's face over the video. Selfie videos do have higher engagement rates because, again, somebody's going to be watching this person talk and explain what they're talking about. Whenever you have a selfie video, usually you want to have a title over it so that it can kind of set context of what's this person going to be talking about. So here are a couple more examples of when we find video ads be the most effective. So number one is after someone's already visited our website or our company page, maybe they clicked on an image ad to get there, or maybe they're just organically on their own visiting our website, then now introducing video as a retargeting ad for this can be effective. And some things that can work here is once someone's been to your website, maybe they just visited a couple pages but didn't go any further. That's where a video ad from the CEO can be good to kind of introduce the company, talk about the benefits of using that company, maybe how they're different. But getting to know the CEO and getting to hear from the CEO can be effective that way, or any other leader in the company. So next are putting demo videos in feed. So maybe somebody made it to the request a demo page, but they didn't actually request that demo. Put a video ad in the feed just to show them the highlights of the software, but don't give it all to them there. Make them still click back to the demo request page to see the full demo. So you might highlight a couple features and say, if you want to see the full demo, click here to request a demo here. So again, people are visiting your website or company page, and that is indicating some intent. They're checking out your company. And if they get all the way to the demo request page, but they haven't requested a demo, then just go ahead and put some of that into the feed so they can watch it right there. Putting screenshots and videos into the feed so that people can consume where they're spending time is very effective. Now, the next scenario is when somebody has requested a demo, then you can put more video in front of them so that maybe it's a salesperson who's going to be taking that call with them. You can feature that salesperson in the video. That really helps to accelerate the relationship building so that this prospect has now seen a couple of videos from the salesperson. Maybe they've learned a couple things or at least got familiar with their voice and what they look like. That really accelerates that relationship building. And then your first call is a much warmer first call. Additionally, once somebody has requested a demo, again, maybe now's the time to put testimonial videos into their feed so that they can hear from other customers. And these could be case studies as to what are the results that they achieved, or it can be their thoughts on working with your company and product or service. So to wrap all this up on the strategy component, let's summarize the top 3 ways of using video ads. Number 1 is to retarget your audience and explain complicated topics or show off complicated features that are not easily done in an image ad. Number 2 is actually thought leader video ads from company leaders. So I talked about video ads here, but thought leader ads are when you're boosting posts from people. So video is great here as well because, again, it really accelerates that relationship building. Someone is going to be more likely to watch that video because it's coming directly from that person, and it just really accelerates that relationship building, helps them get to know the salespeople and the company leadership and feel like they get to know you a lot better. And then number 3 are testimonial videos from customers and users. Put that video right in the feed so that they can hear how other people are using your software and the value that they're getting from it. All right, so now let's move on to the technical components of video ads on LinkedIn. So the first part here, let's talk about objectives. So video ads can be used in every objective on LinkedIn. And additionally, they have their own format called video views objective. if you want to bid on a cost per view basis, you can use the video views objective. These do optimize more towards people who are likely to watch video in feed. So we do see longer watch times on average by using the video views. Now let's dive into the technical details. All right, so now for the video file that you're going to upload to LinkedIn, number one, the max video size is 200 megabytes. The documentation actually says 500, but if you try to upload a file over 200, it says error, the max file size is 200. So LinkedIn needs to figure out their documentation there, but the max video size is 200 megabytes. Keep in mind that this can be small for a video file. Video files can be very big, especially if they're high resolution. Now for the aspect ratio of like what's the orientation and the actual pixel size of this video, aspect ratios can range from 9:16, which is the vertical format that takes up the full screen, like a TikTok video, all the way down to a 16:9, which is the horizontal format. The short horizontal format that will show up that you see often on LinkedIn is like that's the original ad size from back in the day. So aspect ratios can range from the vertical format all the way down to that horizontal banner format. 1:1 or square formats tend to be preferred because they'll show up on both mobile and desktop versions. And I should note that anything taller than a square will not show up on desktop and will only show up on mobile devices. So if you are doing vertical videos, then note that those do not show up on desktop. They will only show up on mobile devices. That ad won't even serve on a desktop. So there's kind of some pros and cons of that. Number one, the pros are that it takes up more space on mobile and you're optimizing towards a better experience on mobile, and most users are on mobile, so it is better to serve a mobile optimized format to mobile users, knowing that most of the viewers anyways are going to be on mobile. The con is that often the best converting traffic does come from desktop. We do usually see that people on desktop do tend to convert a lot higher because it's a more full experience. On mobile, you're doing a lot of things. There's notifications popping up. You're used to swiping real quick between apps or swiping away from that post. Versus on desktop, if you click on a link, it's going to open in a new tab and redirect you, and then you're going to be on that full desktop experience. You have the space to read and see the imagery and see other videos. So desktop tends to be a more immersive experience. We do tend to see that desktop has a higher conversion rate to actually somebody submitting a demo form. So those are some of the pros and cons of using mobile versus desktop. Now, for minimum height and width in terms of pixels is 360 pixels. That is quite small, so I do recommend bigger than that. And then the max height or width in terms of pixels is 1920. So watch out if you're getting an Ultra HD video from your video editor. You often need to tone that down so that it can fit into these aspect ratios. I've received lots of videos over the years and I'll go to try to upload it and I'm like, oh, this video is either way too big in file size or too big in number of pixels. I need to go back to the video editor to have them cut it down or optimize that resolution so I can upload that to LinkedIn. Some tips are if you get a video that's too big or needs to be cut, you can use cropping tools. Canva's got a lot of good tools. It's very easy just to upload a video to Canva and then re-export it in a lower resolution. If you're on Mac, QuickTime can do some resizing for you, and also exporting videos as a different format. But in terms of file format, that format actually needs to be an MP4 file. So if you are using any Mac editing or QuickTime, it's usually going to give you a .mov file, or if your video editor gives you any other file formats, you need to get an MP4 format. If you're getting a different format, there's lots of converters online that you can use to upload your video file. It'll just convert it to a different format for you. You can re-download that and then upload that to LinkedIn. And then in terms of duration of how long the video can be, you can go from 3 seconds is the minimum. So you can't have a 2-second video. It's got to be at least 3 seconds, all the way up to 30 minutes. So 30 minutes is the max. You can't go over 30 minutes. That is the max for the ad format. But also keep in mind, if your video is around 30 minutes, it's probably going to also be over that max file size. So be careful of, the longer a video is, the bigger the file size tend to be. And that max is 200 megabytes. LinkedIn in their docs even recommends 15 to 30 seconds is recommended because it does say that the video won't show up in all placements if it's over 30 seconds. Other placements that this can show up are in the LinkedIn Audience Network, which is showing video ads on third-party websites, along with in-feed videos. So LinkedIn recommends 15 to 30 seconds as their recommended time. And in general, especially on social video, shorter does tend to be better because people's attention spans are short. They're not going to sit through a whole video there. When you're serving a video ad, you're interrupting somebody, so they're not actively searching you out at that point in time. So when you're interrupting them, something quick and punchy is going to do the best. They're not as likely to sit through a longer video. Maybe your ad links to where they can watch the full video, but that video in the feed is better if it's a short and punchy video. One other thing on physical size of the video is I did mention how it can be all the way from the full tall videos, the 9:16. I want to note that if you use that full 9:16 format, LinkedIn's actually going to shorten your video down, not crop, but it's going to shorten it down and add little bumpers to the side so that it can fit in a shorter height-wise view. A user can click full screen to then see that in the full view. Or if you're ever pushing this on organic, that if it's in a videos for you section, it can then show the full view. But in the video ad, it is going to squish your video down a little bit and then add bumpers to the side. So because of that, if you're running for video ads, we do recommend the tallest that you use is a 4:5, which is 1200 by 1500 pixels. Because if you go above that, then LinkedIn's going to start to shorten it back down to that size. And then again, when it's shortening it down, it's also, squishing in the size to do that. So you're going to have bumpers on the side. So to not have bumpers, you got to use the 4:5 aspect ratio, which is 1200 by 1500 pixels. All right. And then as you think about running this into different campaigns, if you're ever running it in a website visits campaign or a lead gen campaign, and you're doing manual bidding on any of those, then we have the concept of chargeable clicks. Like, what is a chargeable click on the ad when you're manually bidding? Because when you're bidding on those objectives, you're going to bid on a cost per click basis. So there's certain clicks that LinkedIn doesn't charge you for, like often the social, like somebody just liking your post on a website visits or a lead gen objective does not charge you for that click. But it's important to note that just clicking play or pause on the video is a chargeable click. So this is one of the reasons why video can have mixed performance and sometimes can perform worse, is because lots of clicks that people are going to make on a video is to pause the video or restart the video. So clicking play or pause in the video is a chargeable click. So you can get lots of clicks in your video that are not clicking to go to the website or clicking to open the form. So that's one of the reasons why video can have mixed performance when you're using a visits or lead gen objective. So often if you are using video, it does tend to work best for like a video views objective or a brand awareness objective or bidding on a CPM basis. And now also when you upload your video, LinkedIn's going to have a couple more inputs there. Of course, you can name the video when you upload it, and then there's an option to upload a thumbnail. I do recommend uploading a thumbnail because I have seen in the feed, sometimes it can take a second for the video to fully load. Videos are bigger file formats. It's reliant on your network to serve that video ad. So if someone's on Wi-Fi, that's going to be a faster load, but if someone's on their cell network, it could take longer for that video to load. So you don't want to have any delay there. So upload a thumbnail. That thumbnail will be instantly displayed when a user scrolls your ad into view, and then your video will play from there. So I do recommend when you use that thumbnail, have it be the first frame in the video, so it's a seamless continuation from the thumbnail into the video. If you choose a very different thumbnail, then that can be kind of a jarring experience, and somebody might think that, oh, there's something wrong with this video here or this post. I'm gonna keep scrolling by. So do upload a thumbnail, and it is recommended to have that be like the opening frame of the video. The other thing you're gonna upload is an SRT file. So SRT files are used for captions. So if you're transcribing your video and can get an SRT file, you can upload that with your video, and then LinkedIn will display their captions over your video using an SRT file. I actually recommend baking your captions into the video and not worrying about SRT files. So lots of video editors can do this, but it can automatically transcribe your video and then put those words as captions over your video. But I do recommend bake those into the video, so that is a graphical caption that's baked right into the video. Then lastly to note is the reason for that is most people do have their sound off by default. So I do recommend either bake your captions in or use an SRT file, but baking your captions in is usually recommended. And now if you're going to bid on the video, so if you're doing any kind of website visits or lead gen objective, the cost per click is going to be the same as if it was an image ad. So it all depends on the competitive level of that audience. How many other companies are bidding on that traffic will determine your CPC that you can bid there and that you'll get. Keep in mind that videos ads do have lower engagement rates because people are watching the video. They're not necessarily engaging. So because of that, you often have to bid more on a CPC basis. And then if you are using video views objective, the average bid per view range that I've seen is about anywhere from about 14 cents all the way up to 50 cents per view. So again, depends on who you're targeting and how competitive that audience is. Two more interesting call outs on functionality of video ads. Number one is when you're on mobile, when a viewer is watching your video ad on mobile and they click on that video ad, that experience is going to pop up the web browser and the video is going to be pushed up to the top. So if somebody clicks on your video ad, the video itself actually moves to the top of the screen, and then will continue playing there, and the website will load below it. So it is an interesting experience because that video is still playing up top, so that does help get more watch time of that video, but also the website is displaying below. The trade-off is that it can be a little distracting that two things are going on at once. Is somebody reading the text on your website, or are they watching the video and not reading the website? So because of these two things happening at the same time, you'll probably have lower watch time and you'll have lower conversion rates there. So again, video is better when you want to use the video to convey a point, not necessarily when you want to get a website opt-in or something like that. If you do get website opt-ins, consider that kind of the gravy on top. So another interesting piece of functionality is video looping. If your video duration is less than 30 seconds, LinkedIn will actually loop your video after it's done playing up to 30 seconds of total playback time. So if your video is 15 seconds long, then LinkedIn will loop it 2 full times, so it will play 30 seconds worth. It'll play the same video twice. But if your video is 30 seconds or longer, it's only going to play that video once. So I just thought that was an interesting point in how video ads function. I like that they do that looping because it gets a little bit more watch time out of your video. All right, so that's all the technical aspects of video ads on LinkedIn. Next, we're going to jump over to creative. All right, so let's talk about the most important part of the video ad is the video itself. So when you're playing a video ad on LinkedIn, the first couple seconds of that video are absolutely critical, where someone's going to decide if they're going to continue watching or not. I've seen lots of videos that start with a big logo and tagline, and that's not an effective experience because that screams ad, and people are just going to scroll away and go read or watch something else on LinkedIn. The most compelling thing to start with is the picture is a person or someone's face. People are always the most engaging compared to like other things you can put in the video. I find it's effective to overlay a title to have some context with the video there, and then have that title fade away after a couple seconds. Because if someone's just watching a video, you don't know how long they're going to watch that video for. So sometimes it can be hard to understand what's the point of this video, what's the core message that you're trying to convey, or what is this video about when most people aren't watching the full video. So I find having a headline that shows up in the beginning to set some context of what this video is about, what they're going to hear and see in the video, really helps set context for the rest of that experience. And then have that headline melt away after a few seconds so that they get the full video watching experience from there. And so it doesn't just take up space for the rest of the video. Number 2 is to have captions baked into your video. Most videos are going to start by playing muted in the feed unless somebody unmutes the video. So having captions is essential to make sure whatever's being said can actually be conveyed to the reader. They actually understand what is being said and they're not missing that part of the video. So what are some good examples of great video ads that you can run? Number 1 is an intro or story video from the CEO. That's a great video to run because it gets the user to get to meet your CEO, gets to hear the story, hear the journey. That's a very strong relationship builder and introduction into the company. Some things you might talk about are why they started the company, their why behind the company, the mission, their vision for the company, along with maybe explaining some of the features and the most powerful benefits there. Number 2 is a pitch or offer video. So this is where maybe you run it in a website visits or lead gen objective, but having kind of a short commercial can work as an effective video ad that you can run in the feed. You might call out, hey, financial advisors, are you looking for ways to XYZ? If you are, click on this video here to sign up for your free consultation call or something like that. Short pitch videos can work well. Again, you'll still want to have a headline and captions so that you're conveying all that. But short commercial videos can work well in the feed too. So put your offer into a video ad and then run that right in the feed. And then number 3 is showing off a great feature or showing off your product or service, visually walking through how it works. The more that a user sees and hears something and how it works, that becomes more real to them. So the more that they hear and see your product or service, the more familiar they're going to be with it, and the more comfortable they're going to be signing up for a demo or purchasing your product. Additionally, the more that they can visualize themselves using that piece of software or product or service, the more likely it is that they're going to convert. A couple more tips are to have quick cut scenes in your video so that you're maximizing the time that is on screen there. Cut out any spaces, any gaps, any filler words so that your video is as punchy as possible. Don't have long transitions. Again, fit your video and pack the biggest punch into the shortest time possible because the longer a video is, the more drop-off is going to happen. Fewer people are going to watch all the way to the end. So last is my favorite video editor for non-video editors. If you're a hardcore video person or have a video team, they're probably using Adobe tools. Those seem to be the best among the video editors that I talk to. But for myself, and if I'm just doing a quick edit, I love to use Descript as a video editor. It's great because it makes video editing very easy. I can easily cut out certain parts, and it has like the basic tools that I need. It can also automatically transcribe the video and put that into captions of the video, so it makes captioning very easy as a process. That's one thing that I wish Canva did a better job of was automatically transcribing captions. Maybe at someday they'll have that, but for right now they don't have that, and that makes the script a better video editor. All right, so for the last section here, let's talk about measurement, analysis, and optimization. So first, as we're analyzing our ads, we first need to know what's our goal of running this ad. As we mentioned, you can run a video ad for website visits, website conversion, and lead gen. So if you're running any of those objectives, of course, you're going to want to analyze your video based on the actions taken and if that video is converting to the actions that you want to take or not. To track this, you're either going to use leads for the built-in lead gen forms, or you're going to track website conversions for website visits or website conversions objectives. Otherwise, if you are running your video for the goal of delivering content to somebody, then you're going to analyze consumption metrics. Those metrics are views, view rate, and cost per view to understand, are people watching your video, at what rate are they watching the video, and then how much does it cost to get that view. Additionally, LinkedIn will tell you a number of views at 25% watch time, 50%, and 75% watch time. I don't love using this metrics because if you have two videos of varying length, then these mean different things. But those are the stats they offer. So you can look at number of views at 25%, 50%, 75%. You can see number of video completions. So you'll want to optimize for consumption to see which videos are being watched the most. And maybe you're going to split test different videos, and maybe you're going to split test. And the best thing to start with is split testing different opening scenes to see what really catches the reader's attention that causes them to watch the rest of it. Those are the biggest things to split test, is that opening few seconds. Maybe you open with a person, or maybe you open with a screenshot, and then see which one gets people to watch further. Also, a new metric that LinkedIn's rolled out recently is called dwell time. And this is a great metric because it will tell you about how long, on average, are people sitting there and reading your ads. So finally, now you can use this metric to compare videos of different duration to see what is the average watch time of each of these videos. And you can also use this metric to compare side by side with image ads to see, are people sitting there and reading the image ad longer and actually consuming it, or are people actually sitting through your video to watch that video for a longer period of time. So again, that metric is average dwell time. Is a new metric in Campaign Manager. Not all accounts have it yet. Most do, but it is still ramping. So if you don't see it yet, you'll likely be seeing it soon. Some other things you might split test with your video ads are just try the square format versus a vertical format to see if one of those engages the audience more. You might test the text you put over the video. So if you do start your video with a headline to start, maybe that headline melts away after a few seconds. That text there on the headline, you might split test different text there to see what grabs the people's attention. All right, so we've covered a lot today for video ads, and I hope you learned a couple tidbits to improve your videos, or you know what to expect when you go to plan out your video ad campaigns. So let's recap here and go over what we covered today. So the top 3 uses of video ads that we see perform the best is number 1, retargeting to explain complicated topics or show off certain features. Video tends to do better in retargeting campaigns. Once somebody already knows about you, then they're more likely to sit through and watch a video. But in a cold campaign, if somebody doesn't know you yet, they're less likely to watch a longer video. Number 2 are using it as in thought leader ads from leaders at the company. So thought leader ads overall get a lot more engagement because people are always going to engage with people more than they will companies. So using video in that format is great because it really helps accelerate the relationship building with whoever's posting. And then number 3 is using videos for testimonial videos. It's great for your prospects to hear directly from your customers and users what they like about the software and how it's benefited them. Video testimonials are so much stronger than testimonials because they're hearing it directly from the user. Next, we went over technical specs, and while there's a lot of them there, it's best to start with either a square or vertical format, with 4x5 being the recommended tall format. If it's taller than that, then LinkedIn's going to shrink it down a little bit and add bumpers to the sides. The best duration is about 15 to 30 seconds. You can have longer videos, but know that there tends to be a lot of drop off after that 30 seconds. And then the first couple seconds of the video is so important to get right. And then finally, in technical specs, the max file size is 200 megabytes. We also went over some creative tips. And again, we said that the first 3 seconds of the video is so key. That opening frame is so important. Make sure you upload a thumbnail there so somebody has something visually that will grab their attention right at the start. And then the first 3 seconds are what's really going to convince somebody to watch the rest of the video. Number 2 is to use people in your video, whether you're overlaying the person who's talking or having faces in your video or have a full frame, a full selfie video of that person talking. And then the final tip was to bake in captions because most people have sound off in the feed. So baking in captions makes sure that they're able to at least read your message as they're scrolling through. All right, so that's what we got for you today on video ads. Again, I hope you learned something to improve your ads or plan out an effective campaign. If you're interested in learning more, you can check out our YouTube channel where we have a lot of in-depth videos and tutorials and walkthroughs, along with more episodes are coming that we're going to be having interviews with experts. We'll be talking about topics like attribution and even more ad creative best practices. So stay tuned for more. Additionally, I want to mention that we are hiring at Speedwork for a senior LinkedIn ads strategist. So if you or somebody you know is a LinkedIn ads expert and you enjoy B2B marketing and helping craft strategies, then I encourage you to check out our job posting for that. And you can find that job on our website or find it on our LinkedIn page, or feel free to ping me directly for more information.
Thanks for listening to LinkedIn Ads Radio. That's it for this episode. Stay tuned for more.